26-year-old Christin of Evansville, Indiana, is facing neglect charges after a 2-month-old infant son was found to be severely malnourished, starved and dehydrated. On the 6th of November, the Indiana Department of Child Services was called to Deaconess Gateway Hospital after staff discovered the infant was underweight and suffering from failure to thrive. The child was taken to the hospital by a friend of Christin, who became concerned about the baby's condition. The infant weighed 6 pounds 6 ounces when he was brought in, which is 2 ounces less than when he was born. The DCS worker reported that the victim's skin was hanging off his arms and also had loose skin on his legs and torso. The victim was later placed in foster care, where medical intervention led to a significant weight gain. Christin told authorities that she had been living with a friend and a brother since moving to Evansville from Indianapolis. She explained that the infant had digestive issues and frequently spat up formula after being fed. Christin claimed that she fed the infant 1 ounce formula 6 times a day, but was unsure how much the infant retained. She said she scheduled a doctor's appointment for the 11th of September to address the issues, but cancelled a follow-up appointment a month later because she had numerous things going on in her personal life and work and made no effort to reschedule. Christin admitted that she should have done more for her child and that she relied on a friend to take the baby to the hospital while she rested after working part-time at Dollar General. She acknowledged that the baby would have died if not removed from her care. Christin was arrested and charged with felony counts of neglect and remains held at the Vanderburgh County Jail on a $25,000 bond. A former substitute teacher at Warren Central High School in Bowling Green, Kentucky, has been charged with multiple child sex crimes. On the afternoon of Friday, the 22nd of November, 29-year-old Christopher Porter-Bunton was arrested following an investigation by the Warren County Sheriff's Office after receiving a tip that a teacher had sent sexual messages to a female student. The student also allegedly sent sexual messages in return. Christopher was questioned by police, where he confessed to speaking sexually with the girl and sending her inappropriate photos and videos of him performing lewd acts on himself. In March 2024, Christopher allegedly met with the juvenile and had sexual contact with her. Christopher told authorities that the juvenile sent him nude photographs, and the two met in the classroom where they hugged and kissed. He also said the juvenile touched him sexually. In one instance, Christopher tried to undo the juvenile's pants, but she stopped him and left his classroom. When authorities talked to the juvenile victim, she denied the facts. She said she did not want Christopher to get into trouble and felt her parents would be angry with her. She later told police Christopher began messaging her in November 2023 on Instagram. At that time, he allegedly sent her nude photographs and videos of himself masturbating. He also requested her to send the same type of content to him. Christopher remains held at the Warren County Regional Jail with a $50,000 cash bond. He is charged with first-degree sexual abuse, procurement or promoting the use of a minor by electronic means, and distribution of obscene matter to minors. A woman is behind bars on multiple charges. During the early morning hours of Saturday the 23rd of November, 36-year-old Kelley Adele Karabinos was arrested following a dispute at a smoke shop at 1498 Gulf to Bay Boulevard in Clearwater, Florida. After being escorted out of the store by a security guard, Kelley retrieved a gun from a car and pointed it at the guard, attempting to fire multiple times. The weapon malfunctioned, but Kelley continued to threaten the guard as she re-entered her vehicle. She then fled the scene but later returned and was identified by the victim. Following a brief pursuit, Kelley was apprehended and booked into the Pinellas County Jail. She's charged with aggravated assault, possession of a firearm during a felony, DUI, fleeing and eluding, and introduction of contraband into a detention facility after authorities discovered 3 bullets concealed in her bra. She remains held on bonds totaling $75,000. A 31-year-old woman has been arrested after she was found driving erratically with an unrestrained 2-year-old in her car. At 10:48 a.m. on Saturday the 23rd of November, authorities responded to reports of a reckless driver near mile marker 31 along US Highway 1 in Big Pine Key, Florida. Witnesses reported that the driver, later identified as Victoria Renae Lesley, was veering off the roadway, driving well below the speed limit, and appeared to be falling asleep at the wheel. Deputies stopped Victoria's vehicle just after mile marker 32 and found her visibly intoxicated and unable to stand without assistance. Inside the car, authorities discovered a half-empty bottle of vodka, a nitrous oxide canister and a dispenser. The unrestrained toddler was unharmed and was placed in the custody of a family member or friend. Victoria was transported to the Monroe County Jail, where she fell asleep en route. She later provided a breathalyzer sample revealing a blood alcohol content of .274, more than 3 times the legal limit in Florida. She faces charges of DUI, illegal possession of nitrous oxide, and child neglect. A 43-year-old man will spend at least 9 years behind bars for shooting a man in the face because he would not share his potato chips. On Monday the 25th of November 2024, a judge in Summit County, Ohio sentenced Melvin Wright to 9 to 12 years in prison after earlier pleading guilty in October to attempted murder with a firearm, having weapons while under disability, and illegal possession of a firearm in a liquor permit premises. At 8:40 p.m. on the 28th of November 2023, Melvin went up to a stranger, 31-year-old Jacob Hicks, inside Lusty's Adventure nightclub at 41 Stanton Avenue in Akron, Ohio, and asked for some of his potato chips. When Jacob refused, Melvin followed him outside to his car and shot him in the face. Jacob then transported himself to the hospital, where he was treated for non-life-threatening injuries. Upon Melvin's release, he'll be required to annually register as a violent offender for the next 10 years. A 31-year-old man from Kansas City, Kansas is behind bars for stabbing a 17-year-old girl. At 2:06 p.m. on Sunday the 24th of November, authorities responded to a report of an assault at Fleet Farm Store at 1935 Levi Griffin Road in Carver, Minnesota. When officers arrived, they found a 17-year-old employee who had been stabbed in the back of the neck. There was a 2 to 3 inch cut on her neck, with entry and exit points, and she had lost a lot of blood. Authorities said that the wound was consistent with being stabbed with a large elongated object. The victim told police she did not know the man who stabbed her. The girl was rushed by ambulance to Hennepin Healthcare in Minneapolis in a stable condition and has since been released. During the investigation, authorities identified the suspect as Gerald Dwayne Hudson, who had fled the store on foot and drove off in a cream-coloured SUV before police arrived. Authorities said that surveillance video showed Gerald walking to the store and down the aisle where the victim was. He was then seen walking past her to the end of the aisle and looking back and forth before walking back toward the victim. Gerald was then seen on video making a striking movement toward the victim while her back was turned. The victim was then seen holding the back of her neck and leaving the aisle. The witness, who was a customer in the store, told police he heard a scream and the victim shouted, "He just stabbed me." The witness saw Gerald run out of the store. On Tuesday the 26th of November, Gerald was located in Chanhassen and arrested after a high-risk traffic stop. He was booked into the Carver County Jail on charges of first-degree assault causing great bodily harm and second-degree assault with a dangerous weapon. Authorities, however, have been unable to locate the assault weapon. Following his arrest, Gerald made several unsolicited comments while in jail, such as, "I didn't stab anyone, I didn't have any guns or anything like that, I just hit someone with a thing. And there wasn't any kind of deadly weapon that was involved, like a gun, a knife or a bat or anything like that. It was just like a quick brief conversation. I just well hit her with a plastic thing." Gerald told investigators that he had asked the victim where to find something in the store, and that maybe she said something that didn't sound right to him, so he picked up a thing and hit her with it. Gerald also asked the detective interviewing him if he was a homicide detective, and asked if the victim passed away. Gerald remains held at the Carver County Jail with bond set at $1 million. A 29-year-old man has been arrested after his 3-year-old daughter fatally shot herself. At just after 9 a.m. on Thursday the 21st of November, police responded to an apartment in the 5500 block of Overbrook Woods Place in Louisville, Kentucky on reports of a shooting. When officers arrived, they entered the premises and found a young girl suffering from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. Medics transported her to Norton Children's Hospital, where she later died. The victim was identified as 3-year-old Aubree Goss. The child's father, 29-year-old Emonte Goss, admitted to police that he loaded and placed the handgun underneath the couch inside the apartment where the child could access it. He said he fell asleep and awoke to the sound of a gunshot and noticed his daughter had been shot. Authorities said that there were 2 other children in the apartment at the time, but they were not hurt. Within 4 hours of the shooting, Emonte was arrested and charged with second-degree manslaughter and convicted felon in possession of a firearm. The prior felony conviction came when Emonte was charged as an adult when he was 14 for an armed robbery and home invasion in Michigan. Emonte was initially booked into the Jefferson County Jail, but on the 3rd of December he appeared in court and was released from jail on house arrest in lieu of a $50,000 bond while the case proceeds. The bond had previously been set at $250,000. A man and a woman are behind bars after police found 4 children living in a home covered in raw sewage, trash and dirt. On the 18th of May, the 4 children were removed from the custody of 56-year-old Daniel Perkins and 34-year-old Samantha Perkins after authorities responded to their home along Hex Run Road in Granttown, West Virginia on reports of child abuse taking place. When deputies arrived, they found the 13-year-old boy with blood and bruises on him. The boy told police that Daniel and Samantha beat him. On scene, deputies found trash scattered throughout the front of the home, with an eroded staircase leading up to the front door. Once inside the premises, deputies found trash and dirt on the floor with a strong odour of raw sewage coming from the bathroom. Inside the bathroom, there was raw sewage overflowing from the toilet and an infestation of flies. In one bedroom, deputies found 3 juveniles ranging from the ages of 1 to 11 years old. A 3-year-old child who seemed to be malnourished had a feeding tube on and was laying on a dirty mattress on the floor. The children were then taken into state custody. On the 22nd of November, Daniel and Samantha were arrested. Daniel and Samantha are facing charges of child neglect causing bodily injury, and Daniel is facing an additional charge of child abuse with substantial risk of death or bodily injury. They both remain held at the North Central Regional Jail with bonds set at $50,000 each. 34-year-old Doyle Smith is behind bars for beating up and strangling a senior woman. At around 9 p.m. on Monday the 25th of November, authorities responded to the 2500 block of Starkweather Road in Rockford, Illinois after receiving a call from a woman saying that she could hear a man and woman fighting. When officers arrived, they heard noises coming from the garage. Police forced entry into the garage and found Doyle standing over a battered woman he was still trying to harm, and he was taken into custody. The woman told officers that Doyle pulled her out of the car while she was parked in the driveway, started to strangle and punch her multiple times and dragged her into the garage where he continued to attack her. Doyle allegedly told the woman, "If you fight back, I'll kill you," during the incident. Doyle is charged with aggravated battery of a woman over 60 years of age, domestic battery causing bodily harm, and aggravated battery causing strangulation. Doyle remains held at the Winnebago County Jail. The motive of the attack is unclear, as the investigation into the matter continues.